Did you know that in certain parts of Bulgaria, a young girl's virginity is auctioned off to the highest bidder? This is the unsettling reality of the bride market in Bulgaria, a tradition that has persisted for centuries. Nestled in the heart of Eastern Europe, Bulgaria is a country rich with history and cultural heritage. Yet hidden within its traditional customs lies a practice that many find hard to comprehend in the 21st century. Each year in the small town of Stara Zagora, thousands gather for the annual bride market. Here, young girls, many still in their teens, are paraded before prospective suitors. Their value, determined by their virginity and beauty, is bartered and negotiated, often resulting in marriages arranged on the spot. This ritual, while shocking to outsiders, is steeped in history. It is a practice that dates back to the Roma people who first introduced it in the region. For them, it's not merely a market, but a rite of passage, a way to preserve cultural identity and ensure the continuity of their community. Yet the cultural implications of this tradition are complex. On one hand, it upholds the societal norms and values of the Roma community. It's seen as a way to protect and maintain their way of life in a rapidly changing world. On the other hand, it reinforces archaic views on women's rights and gender roles, reducing young girls to mere commodities. The bride market, while deeply entrenched in tradition, is not without controversy. It has drawn criticism from human rights groups who argue that it promotes child marriage and infringes on the rights of young girls. Yet despite this, the practice continues, often justified as part of cultural heritage. As we delve deeper into this complex issue, we must strive to understand the societal norms that allow such practices to persist. We must question whether cultural heritage can justify practices that many deem unethical or outdated. A tradition that dates back centuries, but in today's modern world, it raises many ethical questions. Hear it from the people who have seen and experienced this tradition firsthand. Our narrative begins with the voice of a woman, once a bride herself, recalling the day she was sold at the market. She recalls apprehension and fear, yet a sense of duty to her family and community. For her, the bride market was not a choice, but an obligation. Then we hear from a suitor, a young man who felt the pressure of societal expectation to find a wife at the market. He speaks of the conflicting emotions, excitement at the prospect of finding a partner, yet discomfort at the idea of purchasing a bride. An elder from the community takes us back, explaining how the bride market is rooted in tradition. He talks about the importance of preserving cultural heritage, yet acknowledges the ethical quandaries it presents. He is torn between his respect for tradition and the growing voices calling for change. A former bride, now a mother, shares her fears for her own daughter. She wonders if her child will be subjected to the same tradition she endured. She hopes for a future where her daughter can choose her own path, free from societal expectations and pressures. A young woman yet to be brought to the market speaks of her dreams. Dreams of furthering her education, dreams of pursuing a career, dreams that are often overshadowed by the looming reality of the bride market. She yearns for the freedom to make her own choices. Lastly, we hear from a community leader who speaks of the need for change. He acknowledges the tradition but argues for its transformation. He advocates for education, empowerment, and choice, believing these to be the keys to breaking the cycle. Through these voices, we get a glimpse into the multifaceted reality of the bride market, a tradition steeped in history and culture, yet fraught with complexities and contradictions. It's a narrative that's both personal and communal, revealing the intersections of culture, gender, and power. A disturbing reality for many, yet a tradition revered by some. In this market, it's not just about the money, it's about a girl's purity. The bride market in Bulgaria is a place where virginity is not just an attribute, but a commodity. It's a tradition that has been carried on for centuries, where a young girl's innocence is traded for a hefty price. But what does this mean for the young girls involved? Let's delve into the psychological and social implications of this unsettling practice. Consider the immense pressure placed on these girls, often barely in their teens, to maintain their purity. They are expected to remain untouched until their wedding night, a condition that is then converted into monetary value. This creates a deeply ingrained fear of losing their virginity, which can lead to anxiety, depression, and a host of other mental health issues. The social implications are equally distressing. These girls are often ostracized if they fail to meet the stringent standards of purity. Their worth is reduced to their virginity, and they are viewed as damaged goods if they lose it before marriage. This leads to a sense of isolation and inferiority, further exacerbating the mental health issues they may already be facing. It's also worth noting the effect on their relationships. The emphasis on virginity can create a power imbalance, where the man is viewed as the purchaser and the woman as the purchased. This can lead to unhealthy dynamics, with the woman feeling objectified and devalued. Furthermore, this practice perpetuates gender inequality. By commodifying virginity, it reinforces the patriarchal notion that a woman's worth lies in her sexual purity. This not only limits their opportunities but also undermines their autonomy and dignity. In a world that is constantly evolving, where women are making strides in every field, it's disheartening to see such antiquated practices still in existence. It's a stark reminder of the deep-seated biases and inequalities that still persist. A price tag on purity, a chilling concept in our modern world. It's time to shed light on this dark corner of the world. In the face of such a disconcerting reality, there are those who refuse to stand idle. A growing number of individuals and organizations are stepping up, determined to break the silence and combat this deeply rooted tradition. At the forefront, we find brave activists, both local and international, who tirelessly work to raise awareness of this issue. They are the ones who dare to challenge the status quo, risking ostracization and often their personal safety. Their mission is to educate, to empower, and to create a space for dialogue where the voices of young girls can be heard and respected. Non-governmental organizations are also pivotal in this fight. They provide resources, legal assistance, and support to the victims of this practice. They conduct workshops, publish research, and lobby for policy changes, all aimed at protecting these young girls and their futures. Government bodies, too, are beginning to acknowledge the gravity of this problem. Legal measures are being put in place to penalize those who perpetuate this practice. However, the enforcement of these laws remains a challenge, as the tradition is deeply entrenched in certain societies. And yet, resistance persists. Traditionalists argue for the preservation of culture and heritage, often overlooking the human rights violations at play. This pushback is a stark reminder that change will not come easily. It will require persistence, resilience, and a collective effort to dismantle these harmful norms. Despite the challenges, there are signs of progress. Laws are being revised, conversations are taking place, and attitudes are slowly changing. There is a palpable sense of hope, a belief that the plight of these young girls will not be ignored any longer. The path to change is a long and arduous one, but it is a path that must be taken. With every voice that joins the chorus, with every stride made in the right direction, we move closer to a world where the bride market is a thing of the past. Change is slow, but it is happening. The fight continues. You have the power to make a difference. In a world where we are more connected than ever before, each of us holds a unique power, the power to raise awareness and affect change. We're not just passive spectators in this global theater, but active participants who can bring about transformation. The issue of the bride market in Bulgaria is one that has remained in the shadows for far too long, shrouded in the veils of tradition and cultural norms. But the time has come to shine a light on this practice, to question its validity, and to seek a more equitable path forward. The first step is awareness. Only when we are aware can we begin to understand, and only when we understand can we begin to act. Use your social media platforms, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other, to share this story, to send out a call to action. Let your followers know about this issue. Encourage them to share it further. Remember, every ripple counts in creating a wave of change. Next, lend your support to non-governmental organizations that are tirelessly working on the ground to bring about change. Organizations like the Bulgarian Helsinki Committee and Animus Association Foundation are always in need of resources and volunteers. Reach out to them, contribute in whatever way you can. Petitions are another powerful tool in our arsenal. They help to show that there is a collective voice against such practices. Sign them, share them, encourage others to do the same. Action is not just about grand gestures, but also about small, consistent steps taken in the right direction. Each share, each signature, each conversation, each donation, they all add up. Together, they create a chorus that cannot be ignored. Remember, your voice matters. It has the power to reach places and people far beyond your immediate circle. Use it wisely, use it fiercely. Raise your voice, spread the word. Together we can help end the bride market in Bulgaria.